Oh, well, thank you all for joining us today, and welcome to the Hounslow High Street Conference 2022. We're currently living through the most transformational period in the entire history of high streets, and it seems like every day there's a new opportunity to address or a challenge to deal with. There is much to be optimistic about in Chiswick, Feltham, Hounslow, Isleworth, and in Brentford. But there's also lots that needs to be done across the borough if we're to ensure a future of diverse, thriving, successful high streets. Save the High Street Hounslow exists to make sure this positive future becomes the reality. We're providing a range of new support and initiatives for those involved in helping make this happen. This has all been made possible thanks to funding through the government's ARG, or Additional Restrictions Grant Scheme, as well as substantial contributions from numerous members of the Hounslow Council team and a wide variety of high street businesses, startups, landlords, and local champions who are working hard to have an impact in the places they love. So, if we look back at the last few weeks, it's been a whirlwind, and this only officially kicked off in January, but there is much to update already. So today we really want to showcase some of those good things that are already going on, while also looking to the future, as we see huge opportunities for building on these early successes and driving continuous positive impact in Hounslow if we join together quickly. My name's Alex Schlagman. I'm one of the founding partners of SaveTheHighStreet.org, and I'm your host for today. I'm not alone, and over the next half an hour, we'll be introducing the runners-up and the winners from the Hounslow High Street Startup Competition. Kate Bull will be joining, who's the head of economic regeneration at Hounslow Council, to share some of the initiatives that are being driven from the local authority. We've also got a whole range of local champions who will be sharing their views on the things that they love about their places and the things that are going on locally in their different town centres and what they'd like to see happen next. If you listening in today have any questions, thoughts or contributions at any time through the event, then just add them into the chat box on Zoom and we'll aim to answer them either at the end of the section or the end of the overall event. So without further ado, let's get started. Right, so, what's very clear to everyone listening in here is that high streets are changing. Our view at SaveTheHighStreet.org is right now they're changing faster than ever. And some of the most public challenges that are facing high street that everybody's aware of also represent some of the biggest opportunities. The gaps left by large national chains either disappearing or not growing or shrinking from high streets are now in a position to be filled by a whole new generation of entrepreneurs. And these entrepreneurs need access to the space, support, and funding they need to achieve their potential. Ultimately, through this whole bottom-up regeneration of high streets, we need to start to get the right things in the right places. And we need to make sure those businesses who have those offerings have the support and funding they need to realize their potential, not just launch successfully, but be sustainable, successful high street businesses. In February, we launched the Hounslow High Street Startup Competition. Can we move to the next slide? And I think a number of people on this call, I know there are contributors on this call coming shortly, applied for this competition. Over 50 plus businesses applied. In that process, we went through a whole evaluation. There was an interview process, there was an application form, there was an evaluation criteria. And out the back of that whole process, we selected 10 businesses as finalists, and we've then found 3 winners. And we're going to hear from all of those today. I'm going to leave this now and start, and if we could move on to the next slide. So I think we're going to highlight a little bit more about actually what happened with the winners as well as what's currently going on with some of the runners-up today. So just to give a quick shout out to those runners-up, we've got on the screen today Ashanti Douglas, Little Matthews, Kira Rathbone, Beverly Reed, Cal Shafe, Zahara, Sylvia, Ruby, Esnath, Ruby again, and Nancy. So without further ado, is Ruby there to help kick things off? Ruby Idris, are you on the line? No? Well, we'll come back to you if you're there. You're having struggles with getting your camera and your mic set up. Beverly, do we have Beverly Reed there? Okay. Kira Rathbone.
Hi.
Ah, okay. Who do we have? Is that Kira?
I'm Beverly.
Ah, Beverly, hi. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to the event, Beverly. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about your business, what you're up to, and what's next for your business?
Right. I'm Beverly Reed, and my business is called Be Essentials. And what it is that homemade beauty products. So I make body butters and body scrubs, and they're all made with essential oils. So they're infused with different essential oils, which has different properties for the bodies. And I also make bath bombs, and I also make organic lip balms. And what I do is I go on to farmers markets. So the ones that I've got regular spots on at the moment is Old Isleworth. That's it's usually the first or second Saturday of the month. And I have another spot in Brentford Market as well. And that's the second Sunday of each month. So those are my regular spots. And I'm in the process of trying to sell my stuff online as well. And I was told at the last minute that I should be pitching, so I haven't really prepared myself. But what I've got is one of my little body butters with me. So this is what I sell. So everything is made of shea butter and coconut oil. And as I said, I've got different essential oils. And what I would like to do in the future is hopefully have a little shop somewhere in Hounslow or anywhere local where I can promote my business and hopefully get some support in that sense to get online as well.
Fantastic. Beverly, where can everybody listening in today find more about you? A website you want to share, publicize, or social media?
The only social media I'm on at the moment is on Instagram. So that would be under Be Essentials 1. And this is where I'm not very good at. And this is where I need the support when it comes to social media and just myself. But usually what I do is go to farmers markets. So you can find me at the local farmers markets. And what I do is usually put it up on Instagram where I will be.
Fab. Well, look, make sure you check out Beverly at the local farmers market, and don't be surprised if you see her popping up and scaling up on social media soon. Very good. Thank you, Beverly. Zahara, are you here? Are you on the line? No. Ruby, have you found your way to sort of get yourself set up now? I'm going to go through some of the others. Lilith, I may have mispronounced your name. Lilith.
It's Lily.
Ah, Lily. Of course it is.
Lily like the flower. Yeah,
Welcome,
a lot
Lily.
easier. It's a Scottish spelling, but it's still pronounced Lily.
Welcome, Lily. So yes, same again. Tell everybody listening in today what it is that your vision is for your business, what you're doing today, and what's next.
Yeah, so my business is, so I'm Lily, and my business is called Finding Roots. And the reason that I established it was because access to green spaces and plants should be a given. But we all know that living spaces are decreasing, urban sprawl is spreading rapidly. But equally, we know the benefits that plants provide each of us, to both us and the environment as a whole. So my challenge was, how can we ensure that everyone can have access to those green spaces, regardless of whether they have a garden, a balcony, or neither. And so Finding Roots, my business, is a seasonal microgarden subscription which delivers ready planted gardens to your door, but on a micro size. So at the end of every season, the way I want to contribute to the community is then donating any of the plants that are still really good quality back to local deserving organisations to further benefit the community. So not only do you as a customer benefit from having plants, learning about plants and getting all of the information through, but you're also helping your community green up too. So I've learned a lot. The reason that I'm coming on this is to be able to get out there. And so actually hearing Beverly speak first, that is exactly why I'm here, because I need to learn about the local markets where I can start talking about this. So Beverly, I'll definitely be getting in touch with you if that's okay, to learn about those opportunities, but to also take this forward and be able to communicate and spread the word. So the marketing, same as Beverly, it's just getting that communication out there further online. It is through a website at the moment, so findingroots.co.uk, you can find further information, and the subscription is up and running through that. But yeah, it's just getting the word out there, and that's my challenge.
Well, you have the foundations of a great mission, Lily. You know,
Yes, thank you.
A lot of the hard work's done. Now it's getting into the grind, get the word out there and sort of turning it into a business. But well done on getting to this stage. And as I said, all these runners up were finalists. Everyone here has a great idea, and really urge people listening in today to sort of check them out. And we'll be sending, as part of the follow-up to this event, to everybody a bit more information about all the businesses who made it to the finalists of this competition. Great. Ruby, I can see you're on the line. Are you having trouble getting on? Are you able to switch your mic on or get your camera going? Oh, I can see you. I can see you.
Yes, everything is working fine. Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
Nice. Let me introduce myself. I'm Ruby, and my business is actually, I'm a freelance artist, and my online business is like I'm doing henna tattoo, I'm doing face painting for kids, not only specific for the kids, it is for all age groups, and I do a lot of other kind of parties, which is entertainment involved. And I made natural henna. So specifically my business was online, and I take part in this startup, Save the High Street startup, and I love it. And they offer me space as well. I love it.
Fab. We saw each other yesterday because you are popping up inside one of the winners' spaces as well. So, you know, people wanted to come and see you even this weekend, and next week you're going to be around, aren't you?
Yeah. I love to be with Biotopia. She was one of the winner, and the Save the High Street, they see my business and they see I have potentials. They offer me space as well with her, and it was nice exposure.
Yeah, well done, well done. Again, just for everyone listening in, Ruby, quick shout out again. Where should people look for you right now?
Yeah, please look my Instagram. It's fantastic. I just started 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Because I was not a social person, a social media person. So I just started now because it is, I think, is every business needs something social media to be in the field. So my Instagram is Hannah by Ruby London, and my Facebook page is Hannah by Ruby, and it's lovely.
Yeah. And you can also find Ruby at points popping up inside of Biotopia in the Treaty Centre as well. So if you're in Hounslow Town Centre, you know, you can go in, get your hennas, and even hear Ruby's story firsthand.
Yeah.
Fab. Right, I can see we have Zahara on the line now as well. Zahara, are you with us? You able to? Oh, I think you're muted. You need to get yourself off mute. I can see you trying to talk.
Hello.
Ah, welcome, Zahara.
I'm sorry, on behalf of Sarah, my name is Gayan. I'm the business, the developer, manager on the company.
You're welcome. Tell us more about the business.
All right. Okay. You know, it is very fantastic, and we had a chance to, you know, collaborate with Dan, the bike man on the Feltham High Street. and we now identify, you know, what is our customer base, and you know, what is the repeat customers and everything. And now we go very good demanding with the customers, and we good repeat sales and everything. And you know, now we can open the shop without hesitating. Now we know people love our food, and all because of this Save the High Street program. You know, it is very fantastic opportunity we had. And we are now very happy because, you know, our progress and everything. And yes.
Well done, well done. So you're another business that's popping up inside one of the winners. So I think JJ Ceylon, if you're interested in, and you're anywhere near Feltham, and you fancy trying some fantastic, I can tell you firsthand, fantastic Sri Lankan food, as well as great coffee. You can be found really right in the middle of the high street in the Feltham Centre there as well. So yeah, it was really, really great to pop in and see the space yesterday as well.
All right, okay.
Good. And anything else you want to share, Zahara?
Oh, I mean, honestly, you know, I just want to say, you know, like before we had a very hesitate to, you know, let's say now we just planning to get the permanent shop on the Feltham High Street. We are trying to talk with our bank, because now we know the people need us, and now we know people love our food, and because all these things we know because of the Save the High Street, and that's all I need to tell. And that is very fantastic, and that is very good opportunity we having always.
Wow, it's a pleasure. Well done, well done, well done for making it to the finals, and well done for everything over the last month. The reality is that the future of the high street needs this new generation of entrepreneurialism really shining through, bringing new offerings to market. And I think the job of the industry as a whole is to reduce the friction and build the conditions for businesses to be able to try their offerings out locally without long-term commitments, and with the support they need to make those early steps happen and really validate that this is something that's going to work. And I'm in a position to double down, just has been shared a couple of times over the last 10 minutes. Before I go on to introducing the winners, the three winners, and having a discussion with them, is there anyone else from the runners-up who's joined the line and would like to share anything? I can't see Nancy, Esnath, Sylvia, Cal, and Kira or Ashanti on the line at the moment, but tell me if I'm wrong and you're here. This is your moment. No? Okay, good. Well, look, thank you for those who've joined. As I said, everyone who made it to the finalists has done great work. All finalists are getting support. I can hear Ashanti saying, I am here, but I won't bring up the video. I'm here, but in listen-only mode. Great, Cal. That's all good. What we'll do, Ashanti and Cal, is we'll either share, your contact information in the follow-up, unless you'd like to even pop it into the chat, if there's anything you'd like to share to everybody listening in. Okay, good. So what was this competition all about? So really what we wanted to do here was give a platform for new businesses who never had a high street presence in the London Borough of Hounslow before, the chance to go and set up with space for 4 weeks, with really targeted intensive support all around launching and getting all those foundations you need to get in place to be successful on the high streets, and a whole team at your fingertips to make that plan a reality. The runners-up are on a lighter touch program where we'll talk a little bit more about the type of support we're providing to other high street businesses, guiding them in those early steps towards evaluating and validating their business model, finding space, and setting up those sort of foundational marketing channels to build the brand. But the three winners also received a specific area, a specific space for their business to try out over the last few weeks. So without further ado, I think it would be a good moment to introduce the three winners. Zinat, Samira, and Dan, are you all on the line at the moment?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm here.
Good, good, good. Good to see you all again.
Hi, good morning.
Wow, I can see you all. Fantastic, fantastic. So Why don't we start with just a quick introduction about each one of you as well? So what is the business about? And tell us a little bit about, what you were doing, when you founded the business and when you joined this competition and where you want it to go. Give us a little bit of a sort of a story of the business so far. Maybe we could start with Zinat.
Hi, yeah, so I'm Zinat. I'm the founder of Abayatopia. So Abayatopia is a ladies' online modest wear fashion brand. I started it about 4 years ago, only online. I was quite active on social media, especially Instagram. I've got quite a large following on Instagram, just under 50K followers. The pandemic actually boosted my sales because everyone was at home, they were shopping online. They still needed outfits and clothes during the pandemic. Maybe they were dressing up at home, I don't know. And they were shopping, they were shopping on my website. So this competition came up. I applied, and I wanted to test my offering on the high street. I was hoping to see what would happen. Would my online sales be affected? Would it increase? Would the customers take to my items? Would they like it? Would they like to come in? And I've had really good feedback, very positive feedback. It's exactly that. They want to come in, they want to try the clothes, they want to see, try and buy. Yeah, so it's been amazing. I'm just really pleased that I've got this physical store in Treaty Centre. I could have only imagined and dreamt of it. So yeah, visit me if you're in Treaty Centre in Hounslow, and also online. So it's www.abayatopia.com.
Fab. Well done, Zinat. And so Samira, so same for you. So, tell us a little bit about your story today, because I think you were starting at a very different position when you applied for the competition.
That's
and
right.
Yeah, a little bit about kind of where you are today and what's next.
That's right. Good morning, all. I hope you can hear me clearly. I know there's a slight echo here. Is it fine? Right. My name is Samira. I'm the founder of KidWise, which is a science laboratory for kids. Unlike Zenith, I was a very, very kind of new startup, a pre-startup even. I just had a logo and a piece of paper with my idea, which had been formed over many years and through lots of research. But I think Save the High Street, this whole initiative really brought it to life. They gave me this pop-up space in the Hounslow House, which is for those that don't know, it's the kind of headquarters of London Borough of Hounslow. So lots of opportunity, for collaborations and lots of footfall already there because of people that work there. And, generally it's quite hustle and bustle. And so my aim was to create a place where students could come and experience STEM, so science, technology, engineering, maths, in a fun way. And it was so we can create this new generation of STEM leaders and kind of really make them enthusiastic about science, which sometimes I found students really kind of lacked. So we kind of do a whole practical in a fun way, and they're learning at the same time as having fun.
Fantastic. And Dan, same story for you. What was the business? What is the business? Where were you at the beginning when you applied, and where's the business today and where's it going?
Well, when I applied, I was a mobile bike mechanic, which I started up during the pandemic. Oh, by the way, please excuse the noise. The shop is still open, so there's going to be some background. Before the I lost a job during the pandemic, started up as a mobile bike repair person to just try and, see if I could do something a little bit different and be my own boss. The business started to take off, got a few customers, and decided that really I just need to scale it. So I'd been looking at ways to get onto the high street anyway. Before the competition came up, was finding it really difficult to find the correct premises and make a deal, make something happen. When the Save the High Street competition came up, I thought, I have to apply for this. This might be the thing that gets me over the line. And yeah, I think it very much has been. I'm now trading out of what used to be New Look on Fountain High Street. We've partnered with JJ Salon, who are also going like gangbusters, getting this all going well and making some money. Yeah, Save the High Street have given a tremendous amount of support to just enable us to trial this in a relatively risk-free way and show me that this is exactly where the business needs to go. We are capable. We are exactly what Feltham High Street needs. So we've got to make it happen. We've got to find a way. And this is the support that's going to get us across the line.
Well, hear to that, Dan. Hear. So just to sort of delve a little deeper about what's actually happened over the last few weeks. So it is unbelievable, as much as the four of us know how much has happened. It is only 4 weeks since you actually have been in the space. But there was actually a sort of 2-week period, which wasn't a very long time either, between actually finding out you were the winner and launching that space. Maybe Dan, maybe to continue on, could you talk a little bit about that journey from finding out that you were the winner to today?
But to be quite honest, that 2 weeks was a complete madness. We were told that we were going.
For a second there. Can you hear me?
I'm back in the room. We were told we were going to be winners on, I think it was a Thursday, and then it was just like panic stations. Let's try and pull everything together. Obviously, for me specifically, moving from a mobile business to a fixed location involves quite a lot of logistical changes to how the business operates. So I was trying to work out, okay, so what extra things do I need if I'm in a physical space compared to working from a storage unit? What additional tools do I need? What stock am I going to need to get? So we're trying to work all this out, but at the same time, we're like, we need to make this space, we need to fill this space. It's 7,000 square foot we've been given. No bike repair shop needs to be that big. So what else are we going to do? So it's things like reaching out to Hounslow Council to sort out some kids cycle training. It's connecting with one of the runners up, JJ Salon, to provide a food offering out of here as well. Since then, we branched into second-hand bikes. We're operating as a marketplace for local people in Feltham and Hounslow to buy and sell their bikes. But essentially, people put them up for sale here. We take a commission and they sell it to someone else. Since then as well, we've also established a little art gallery because we've just got so much space. Let's do it. Let's see how we can get other things going as well. We've got some ladies in here right now running a craft fair just to, bring a few more people through the door and support other local small businesses where we can. It's just absolutely normal. It's been a mammoth task. That 2-week turnaround was really tough, but we're where we need to be now. So no complaints from me.
Well done, Dan. I mean, it's been a lot of hard work. I know there's been other people behind the scenes. John and others in the team here have played a big role too. What kind of support have you had on turning this idea into a reality? Well,
from day one, we had John Abatti from Save the High Street, the visual merchandising guru involved, just helping us make sure that everything we do looks as good as it possibly can. We've had some sign writers in to put some vinyl stickers on the window just to make the place look really good. That was again arranged through Save the High Street. They paid for that and made it happen. We were also connected with JJ Salon through Save the High Street, one of the competition runners up. Furthermore, we've had our business coaches. So I think we all had Magella, is that right? But yeah. Magella's been, I certainly have. She's been fantastic. She's just looked after the big picture all the way through. Additionally, Save the High Street provided us with access to web design and social media experts. Miguel worked really hard to get my website up and running, and that's really appreciated. I've also really benefited from some social media coaching from Nicola Moss, who was, again, extraordinary. I can't say enough nice things about the people at Save the High Street. The support has been above and beyond what we could have expected.
Well, thanks, Dan. I mean, it's been a delight working with you too. So You know, so if we move on, Samira and Zinat, maybe kicking off with Samira again. Tell us a little bit about that same journey Dan went on, but from your point of view. You were announced as one of the winners, and again, you were at a different stage than the other two. I mean, Dan was a mobile bike repair guy. Zinat was, you know, at home but selling online already, whereas you had this idea on paper, and you had to turn it into a business. So talk through that journey and a little bit about maybe what support you got through that journey as well.
So at the time when I was announced as a winner, I was teaching. You know, I'm a teacher by profession, and it was a fact that, you know, I had to kind of, I could finally move on to my dream idea and bring it to life. So the first hurdle for any business is actually having that physical space or that presence and how to bring it to life so you have actual customers. So, you know, for me, it was a bit of an experiment, actually. So it's a bit ironic, you know, this is a science lab and I was doing experiments, but it was an experiment for me to see if this was something that the community needed and if this, you know, will actually work. And with the support of, say, the High Street, the physical space given by the London Borough of Hounslow, and, you know, kind of the whole, you know, like Dan said, with the success manager, bringing it completely to life and all the different platforms we had, the different support systems, that's exactly how KidWise has now become somewhere that people can, you know, actually do come to, and, you know, there's so much footfall. It's just been a whirlwind. I just can't believe it was only 4 weeks ago. It feels like, you know, it's been a while. And I'm sure Dina and Dan feel the same. We're completely exhausted, but completely on cloud nine. Yeah, you nodding. But again, without the help of, say, the High Street, this wouldn't have been possible. And I still would have been sitting there with my logo and my written business plan, thinking what to do next. So, you know, brilliant.
Well done, Samira. It's you know, that journey, that accelerated journey. If anyone listening in today is just still at that point where, you know, you might be working on your logo and you've got, you know, a bit of paper where you're working through some plans, it doesn't have to take that long to get started. And I think one of the big lessons here is, you know, there is support available, but I think it really is down to the entrepreneur to take those steps and just realize that, you know, just like Nike said, just do it. Get started step by step and get moving. And I think, you know, you're a great example of that, Samira. You know, you're not just an idea on paper anymore. You know, popped in yesterday, you've got growing real customers, you know, lots of traction, people getting in touch with you every day. Real validation that what you're offering here is something that the community needs.
That's right. Now I feel confident enough to be actually, you know, be able to have a permanent space and be there for the, you know, foreseeable future and go strength from strength.
Yeah, so you know what to do with Samira. Same with Dan. So if you're anywhere near the you know, the Feltham Centre and you've got any interest in bikes, you know, Dan's the bike extravaganza man, more than just cycle repair. Go and buy and sell your bikes, buy and sell art. Now is the art exchange going on in there. Go find yourself with some great coffee, you know, eat some great Sri Lankan food, and of course get your bike repaired. And I think, Dan, you're even training bike repairs as well as training kids with cycle training. I mean, there's all kinds of things cycling related there, you know. And Samira as well, if you've got any interest whatsoever in STEM, so science, technology, engineering and maths, for younger people particularly, and you want to understand how Samira is sort of on this mission to bring STEM to life by making it fun. She's in Hounslow House and she's online as well, so, you know, really good if you could, you know, check Samira out. She's all for collaborations. I know that, you know, always on the front foot looking to build new collaborations. Good. Zinat, over to you. Similar story. I mean, again, you were at a different stage when you started because you already had sales, you already had a growing social media presence, you know, but obviously steep learning curve still. So what was that journey like for you from finding out you're a winner to today and the kind of support that's been built around you?
Yeah, so when I found out, it's been just over 3 weeks ago that I'm one of the winners, there were so many questions in my head. I was thinking about, you know, how am I going to be moving my stock to the shop? What is the shop going to look like? How are we going to be setting it up? And I was quite worried, I was quite anxious, but throughout there's always been yourself, Alex, there's been John, there's been Magella from Save the High Street team, who have kind of reassured me and said, you know, you're not on this on your own. We're here to help. And that's been the exact case. So John has helped with the visual merchandising. We've had lots of discussions about what I'd like the shop to look like. It's quite a large space. I knew what my customers would be like. They'd be, possibly mothers with pushchairs. I wanted them to feel as though they're comfortable, they'd enjoy coming into the shop, and that's exactly what's happened. So with the layout of the shop is in such a way where they can push their pushchairs around comfortably. The kids can also be there; they're enjoying the space. There's so many things that we thought about, discussed. We talked about my signage, my logo that needs to be quite visible, and that's exactly what's happened at the front of the shop and within the shop. We also talked about how will I be turning my online customers into in-store customers. There was a huge email marketing campaign, so I already had quite a few customers on my email list. So I made use of that, inviting them to the shop, letting them know when I'm going to be open. And it was lovely to see customers come in and say, oh, I've already purchased from you. I've already been a customer of yours and it's nice to come and meet you. And I'd have that conversation with them and there'd be a bit of more of a relationship because they could see who I am. They could see, who's behind the brand. I found throughout the whole journey, when people say customers like to try things on, they like to see the item. I've had that experience now. It's definitely true. They love to, the fact that I've got a physical shop, they'd much rather come in and try it on before they buy, because with online shopping, we all know, you buy something, it might not fit, they might not like the texture. So in store, having a physical shop, I'm able to do that for my customers. So there's been a lot of support to get me where I am. I could have only have dreamt about this. So thank you to Save the High Street and everyone, and Hounslow Council as well, because without them, wouldn't have been here.
Yeah, big time. I mean, Hounslow Council, even central government here have been providing, a foundation of funding, to support businesses through this ARG grant scheme. But, there's people at Hounslow Council working tirelessly behind the scenes on the support side of things. There's different teams in council. Some of you may be dealing with other parts of the business, but, we're going to hear from some of them today. Some of the people who are, really working hard. And I know a big shout out to, for example, Callum behind the scenes, who runs a lot of the communications that's going on here, who I know with the winners, has been tirelessly promoting this alongside Andrew Watt through the social media channels and through the email, and really publicizing these businesses and helping sort of build their brands. And then a whole bunch of people in Hounslow Council have just been so supportive of this initiative. And I know this initiative is raising a lot of attention outside of Hounslow, because the reality is we need businesses like Zenat, like Dan and Samira to have that opportunity. They may not have taken that first step without having that space support to actually get started. And now that they're there, they have validation on their business ideas. We believe there's an opportunity here for all three of them to be on the high street for the long term. So, this is it's a really important moment for those three businesses, but a bit of a microcosm really, for others, who are looking for this kind of support, because this is the beginning of a journey, not the end of a journey. And if there are other people out there with ideas, this stage of the competition has been played out, and we're now moving forward into a new phase. But the commitment in the borough about repopulating high streets with the right businesses in the right places, doing the right things, and supporting small and startup businesses to be successful continues. So hopefully we can build on these successes, and hopefully people listening in today are inspired by some of the journey that the finalists and the winners have been on. And big thank you again to everyone at Hounslow Council, central government, the winners themselves, the runners-up, and of course the landlords. So Hounslow Council themselves are the landlord for Samira, and if you want to go visit Samira and its experience kid-wise, you actually go to Hounslow House. The Treaty Centre have really got behind this initiative to support a Biotopia. And as Dan mentioned, he's operating out of an old 7,000 square foot New Look, a unique opportunity for a small business to set up, made possible because of the owners of the Feltham Centre, Aviva. So yeah, big thanks to everybody involved. You know, lots of hard work, but that hard work continues. And let's build on this to, you know, to see all 3 of those winners and all the other 10 runners up being as successful as possible over the coming months. Good stuff. I think it's time to move on. So we've talked about startups, but high streets can't be successful without high street businesses in general succeeding. And over the past few weeks, we've been kicking off a whole range of new supports for over 100 local independents in the borough that already have a high street presence. Retailers, restaurants, barbers, beauticians, butchers, bakers, pubs, cafes, laundrettes, and really all kinds of businesses serving customers from a high street or a shopping centre in the London Borough of Hounslow. Everyone is different. And this isn't just that everyone has a different offering, but the owners of these businesses have different goals for their business. They've got different resources, different interests, different history, different personalities, different skills. So the support that we build at SaveTheHighStreet.org is all focused around personalization. What is it that you want to achieve most right now? There's been a big focus in the business support we've been providing across the high street around boosting footfall. It's been one of the popular areas. So I'm going to actually start shining more of a light on that later in this session. And I'm going to talk about some of the top ideas that we've been helping businesses in the borough and beyond with in relation to boosting their footfall. But we've also been helping businesses, you know, build out an online business alongside their local business and join the dots, as Zinat was talking about earlier, between online and local. How do they increase their local footfall through online? How do they, you know, promote their online sales through local? And ultimately, how do they grow their business on this better connected, more digitally enabled high street we live on today? We're also helping businesses with securing new grant funding, and it's been one of those periods. There have been all these opportunities flowing through, and it's a bit of a minefield. How do you actually understand what are the opportunities for you from a funding point of view, and even beyond grants? So a lot of businesses that are looking for debt and even equity type capital. And what are your steps to actually get access to the funding you need to deliver your plan and build the business that you want to build? So we have you know, a big focus here at the moment around, you know, what is it that a business wants to achieve at the core and personalizing the support around that. But what is this support that's actually being provided? Before I talk about these top ideas for high street businesses in 2022. And if we could just switch to the next slide. I think a lot of people, when they've been dealing with this support, you've been characterizing it like a team at your fingertips. And you know that team is not just a team of industry professionals, but this is a team with unique insight about the opportunities across the high street and within the borough. In fact, there are just so many people we could introduce across this team here today that I just felt it would be more efficient, rather than introducing everybody one by one, we just get some of their faces up on screen and just give everybody a big sort of round of applause. Thank you, you know, for the support they've been providing to businesses. This is our team of success managers. And you can see Magella, who was mentioned earlier, in the top right-hand corner, but there are others supporting businesses every day at the moment in Hounslow. So every business gets their own success manager who's working with them to develop and implement a plan to achieve these goals. But there's also a network of specialists on hand to support each business on demand, whether it's about building websites and launching Facebook campaigns and designing flyers and looking at opportunities for local collaborations. There's different people behind the scenes here who are actually supporting those businesses. And I think some of those examples were even brought up by the winners. You know, people actually in the team here delivering projects for businesses who actually start to turn not just ideas recommended, but recommended ideas into reality. You also get your own unique version of Joe. So we can switch to the next slide. Thank you, Ollie. And so Joe is our unique high street support platform. We've developed it over the last 3 years from the ground up to help ambitious local independents achieve goals. We set up your Joe accounts with the top ideas for high street businesses in the London Borough of Hounslow, ranging across the key goals that you're interested in. And on each individual idea, there's inspirational content about why this is a useful thing to do, but there's also educational content about how you might want to do it yourself. And a button on each idea which says, help me do it, in case you want extra support on that idea to turn it into a reality. As I said, there's a variety of support on these ideas, but ultimately what we're trying to do is not just present a random set of ideas, but develop and implement a plan together. So inside the Joe platform, there's these interactive tools where when you click an idea that you like, it starts to build you a plan and helps you manage that plan like a project management or task management tool, giving you notifications about the things that you've got coming up that you need to do, as well as things that are being done on your behalf, all in one place. And I think the reality is we've been working so hard at Save the High Street on the Joe platform because it is just hard building successful high street businesses. And everyone who's a high street business listening in today will know there's always this conundrum of not really having enough time and not really having enough money. So something more significant had to be done. But in Hounslow today, there is a unique moment because of this ARG funding and the commitments by Hounslow Council and our partnership together with them, there's hundreds of pounds worth of free support available to high street businesses that already are trading on high streets today. And there are still some spaces available. So if you're listening in and you're not already on this, make sure that you've registered yourself at Save the High Street Hounslow, and you'll be getting your unique link to register onto the Joe platform to secure your place on all this support. And I know this all sounds probably like a bit of a no-brainer, but I do actually want to emphasize that it's actually not for everyone. We're looking for local independents who really want to take their business to the next level. It's a team effort, and we'll do everything we can to help you succeed, but to have the impact everybody wants, it really needs to be you being in a position at that moment to want to work on your business, not just in it over the next few weeks, and really challenge yourself to take your business to that next level. But if that does sound like you, then do make sure you get yourself registered. And if you're having challenges finding out where to get that registration link, hounslow@savethehighstreet.org is always a good catch-all email address to get in touch with people across the team here. So that's good. Little overview maybe. Obviously, we hope to see you soon and, provide with much more personalized, hands-on support than can be provided on a big group call like today. But while we're here today, I wanted to shine a bit of a light on the top tips that we're finding for high street businesses in relation to one important goal: boosting footfall. Now, footfall, is one of those things that, happens, but can be created. And so from a high street business's point of view, there are so many things that you could be doing to stimulate that footfall for yourself, and as a result, build the footfall on your high street. And without further ado, let's get into a countdown of the top 10 ideas we're finding working with high street businesses in 2022 to boost footfall. So the 10th top idea is about local SEO. And so SEO is search engine optimization. This is about being discovered organically in search engines without paying for the adverts, without paying Google or Bing or other search engines for exposure in that search engine. Now, one of the reasons why it's such an important idea is that we all have these in our hands now, these mobile phones, where we're spending more time searching the internet from our phone than we are from our laptops and our desktops sitting down. And you know, Google and the other major search engines have been very aware of this for many years and are really focused on making sure they serve you the right types of information when you make any particular search. And so a part of that is because they understand where you are and your location is being tracked on your phone, they are looking to serve up local businesses when people locally are searching for even really generic things. So you might be offering something, I don't know, let's use the example, fashion of something like trainers, a really generic keyword that someone might search just the word trainers on their mobile phone nearby. And actually you would be preferred by the search engine to rank highly than just an online business serving demand from, you know, regional warehouses into major town centers. So for you to capture local demand, to drive footfall, you know, you are already at a competitive advantage against online businesses when it comes to online searches from local people. And so there's certain core things you can do to get that sorted. One of the reasons this has made it onto the top 10 as well is that, you know, part of local SEO is making sure that you build out your Google business profile. And for those that don't know Google business profile, it used to be called Google My Business. This is like a mini website within the search engine, and claiming and optimizing this gets you onto the maps, into Google Maps, but also, you know, drives huge business. And I know there's people even on this call who've spoken today who've seen huge windfalls just by improving and claiming their Google My Business. So yeah, real opportunity to get this done. Local SEO doesn't mean that you've got to go target every single generic keyword around the world. It's about really understanding what are those things that you could win on quickly, and how do you double down and build your position when local people are searching for the types of things you offer. Okay, so next on the list, we have local influencers. So some great examples from the winners today that we heard from about building great collaborations locally. And, you know, local influencers come in lots of different shapes and sizes. So there are tools available, and we've been supporting businesses to identify influencers, social media influencers who are particularly focused on particular areas. I know some of the stuff we have been talking about with Zena at Biotopia, for example, about running competitions to engage local influencers with competitions to actually bring them into the store and experience the brands. There is a real opportunity for, you know, influencers on Instagram, TikTok, and other social media channels who are local to be engaged better by local businesses. That's one side of it. But local influencers come in other shapes and sizes as well. You know, there are local community groups online, Facebook groups, and you should be knowing these ones that are most relevant to your brand, actively participating, you know, knowing the people who are hosting these groups, and actually building a partnership and collaboration with them is actually much easier. The hard bit here is just getting yourself to a position of understanding who are those influential people in my market locally, and then getting in touch and building an organic relationship about what you're about. So I think there is a comment around this side of things. I'll be coming back to a second. But, you know, with the local influencers piece here, I think the other thing I would just like to double down on here is that the word local is important. This isn't just about online influencers. And even with online influencers, there are lots of local online influencers. But in your market locally, there are lots of people who are influential that you could collaborate with in different ways. And so I'm seeing this firsthand in Hounslow with the winners and even other businesses that we're supporting to start to get to a position where they say, well, you know, who nearby my business has influence in my market here? You know, who are those people who have access to their own audience? You know, think of everybody in a sort of with a PR lens in a way. You know, how do I build an organic relationship, inspire people about what I'm up to here, and understand where there's a value exchange? Is it that you've got some unique content that they want to share with their audience, or can you do something? Can you build something together? Can you offer them space in your business as a way to get them to organically start promoting you to their audience as well? So yeah, loads of opportunities. But as I said, the start point here is, you know, get out there, understand who those local influencers are, and build those relationships in a really organic way. And what you'll find is, and if you have questions about top tips for the types of initiatives that you can do with those local influencers, do get in touch. But you'll find those ideas will organically come once you get into the conversation with other people in your industry locally who can share your business, your product, and your brand. Good. So moving on to the 8th position, turning online traffic into offline customers. So I'll highlight a couple of things here, because we're in a new world post-pandemic, and a world where certain things got used a lot more because of the pandemic. You know, we used to laugh a lot in the last few years about QR codes and the time it was taking to get QR codes working, but now QR codes is a thing. Click and collect is another great example of this. Click and collect is something that has been an opportunity that businesses have been trialing to different levels of success, but not with huge numbers. There were reports out a few years ago of John Lewis doing 50% of all of their online sales picked up in stores. We here at SaveTheHighStreet.org built out certain marketplaces around helping businesses offer click and collect services to try and drive more footfall into their business. But there was a real tipping point around this market during the pandemic. And you know, online customers who are local now expect to be able to find things and understand actually what are you offering, not just product here, but reservations for services, bookings for local events. They want to actually confirm online before visiting and experiencing your product service locally. So, you know, getting some of these things set up on your website, there are much more straightforward tools than there were before. Depending on what platform you're on, there will be different recommendations that we would provide. But as I said, online bookings and click and collect, you know, these are things that are now here to stay, and not a minefield in terms of getting this set up on your own website. But then take it further. One of the biggest opportunities we've seen in this space here is the addition of book now buttons in the social platforms. I know there are people we've been supporting here who've been seeing great effect of getting their book now buttons set up in social media, so that people who are engaging with your brand, they can order things, they can reserve things, and ultimately they can use their interaction with you and move that relationship from being something of an audience relationship and participating in your social media to start to actually you know, spend time and money with you locally. Okay, so moving on to the next one, I'm going to sort of move a little bit quicker around some of these. So hosting events to boost footfall. Tons of ideas coming through, tons of things that we've been helping businesses with, you know, just to shine a light on some of the things that have been going on with the winners themselves. I mean, Dan has been talking about running series of events around cycle trainings. You know, we're seeing across the high street, you know, there being great opportunities for businesses. Doesn't have to be huge events, but running local events on often a regular basis to bring in their core customers and really experience their brand without the hard sell. And the impact of that is people spend more money, people become more loyal. So, you know, local events that you can run yourself, it doesn't have to be a big deal. Start small, offer people the opportunity to come in and experience your brand in some organic way. And you will find that, you know, the ones that engage can help inform and shape what happens next with your event plans. There's also, and a bigger picture message here, a lot of events happening in all of the major town centres. And there's a huge opportunity I'll touch on later for small businesses to interact more with their local champions and the events that are being hosted on their high streets and benefit from those very much more directly. Moving on to the 6th position, we have email marketing. And so email marketing, fantastic opportunity for almost every business we deal with to take things further. You know, a lot of businesses aren't sending any emails at the moment. There are even businesses that we start supporting who are not proactively collecting. So step 1, start asking everybody at the point of sale, at the till, on email after they bought things, if they are happy to join an ongoing newsletter and getting some of the basic GDPR compliance things in place to make sure you can actually communicate with them ongoing. If there's any questions on that, just make sure you get in touch. It's not rocket science, it's not scary, it's just all about permissions. But once you've got those permissions in place, again, it's step by step. If you're not sending emails today, don't have to put yourself under pressure of sending an email every week. Start by just telling people who are on your email what you are up to and why you exist. Then when things happen, don't think those things that are actually going on in your business are not interesting to others. You know, you don't have to have the biggest launch, the biggest pivotal moment in your business to announce it to your audience. Keeping a regular dialogue keeps people engaged, and I'll be willing to bet that everybody on this call here as a high street business could be doing a little bit more with their email marketing, because we've been finding this working with hundreds, even thousands of businesses on this kind of recommendation across the UK over recent years. Moving on to the next point, ratings and reviews. Now, look, we all know how influential this is for ourselves. You know, the statistics do not lie. People use Google My Business, Facebook, and other review platforms, TripAdvisor and the like, before they go and use a product or service. And the key thing here, I'd say, is like I was saying with email marketing and asking for emails, ask your customers for reviews. I promise you, one of the reasons why some businesses have more reviews than others and higher ratings than others is that when they speak to a customer who's had a good experience, they just proactively ask, would you mind leaving us a review? You can even take it a step further, and there are tools available. You can add them onto an iPad where they can do it really intuitively at that point of sale. But at the very start point, just make sure you ask. And responding to negative reviews, as much as it can be quite scary and frustrating, we understand this. You know, it's not always about being right. This is about being presented well online. And you can turn a negative review online into a positive with the right response. And if anyone listening in on the program today is having any particular challenges with a negative review, make sure you let us know, and we'll guide you through the steps to actually putting in place a good response that diffuses the situation, and actually to the public reading that whole stream of conversation, see it as a positive to your brand. Next on the list, we're down into running Facebook ads to boost footfall. So in terms of running Facebook ads to boost footfall, we are, well, clearly there's lots of opportunities in social media generally, and there are even lots of paid advertising opportunities through social media platforms. I think one of the reasons why this is ranked so highly is that, as creepy as it might be, you know, the fact that Facebook and other major social networks have such deep insight into our lives and our personal interests. As a small business owner, it is just a fantastic opportunity to be able to target people really specifically who are likely to be interested in your business, geographically not very far away, you know, and even retarget them if they've interacted in other things relevant to you. So there's just an amazing set of tools available for you to set up advertising campaigns at very low cost to trial them out, prove them work, and then scale them up. And I know all the free winners. We're doing great things with targeted ads on Instagram and Facebook, which is the same platform as all part of the Meta platform. Meta owns Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and other apps as well. So you can kind of advertise centrally through one platform across Instagram and Facebook. And it does work if you set it up in the right way with regards to boosting footfall. Okay, moving on. We have the shop window, and I'm not going to dwell too much on this. So everyone's talked today. The winners mentioned some of the work we were doing around visual merchandising, and some of that was very much creating the experience inside the store or inside the space. But a big part of it is actually the window as well, and keeping a window regularly updated and being really considered with how you bring your window to life and differentiate yourself from those around you just does and will always have an impact in driving footfall through the door, as well as making your overall high street a better experience. Moving on to the second position is your window online. So you have a window at the shop, but you also have windows online. And having a website, I think one of the reasons this is so high up is that we've seen that difference between local businesses not having a website to having a website in terms of footfall. It just jumps. As soon as you get a website, it doesn't have to be all singing, all dancing. You don't have to have all the functionality you can imagine or you've seen in your industry, but getting a basic website set up that brings your brand to life, tells people what makes you different and better, why it is you exist, and what it is you're offering in a nice, engaging way with clear directions to your business will have an impact on your footfall. And if you've got a website already, there are things you can be doing with your existing website to utilize that to drive more footfall to your business as well. And then first place is a wider thing around collaborations here. It's so broad that there were just so many good specific projects and tasks that we're working on with businesses to have an impact on footfall that, joining forces and collaborating really sort of stands out from all the others really, because, there are opportunities for businesses with little to no budget to have really meaningful impact in terms of their brand exposure and their footfall. We've talked about some of these today, from winners like Dan the Bike Man having JJ Salon popping up inside of his business, has doubled up the marketing efforts and the offering that's really pulled people in. Similarly with Ruby's business popping up inside of a Biotopia and offering henna inside of a modest wear fashion brand, has created a new dimension and drawn people in there. But around you on every single high street, there are businesses you could be collaborating with. There are businesses who actually you can help and they can help you. And it's not a zero-sum game. They have customers, not just walking into their store, but actually they're engaging with through their social media and their email and other channels. And actually there are things you can do together to promote each other tactically and even build bigger strategic collaborations that drive footfall for the long term. Final point on collaborations is that on every high street, there are people that want to make a difference for that high street themselves. Local champions who are working hard to drive footfall to the place, and they want to support you directly, and they want to put in place initiatives to increase the overall, raise the tide for the high street as a whole. And we see that the businesses that engage more with those initiatives, and even in some cases are those local champions really driving things, have a direct impact on their footfall. It builds their brands. Busybodies do better. And ultimately, it's not just about the greater good. This is about your business and footfall through your door. But the more you do to engage with those initiatives that are going on around you, as well as those businesses you could be collaborating with locally, the more footfall you'll see yourself. So that's it for a top 10. I've run a little bit over. I'm getting messages telling me I need to hurry up. So hopefully that was a kind of useful little whirlwind through some of the top ideas that we're supporting businesses with in Hounslow and beyond in relation to footfall. As I said, look, lots more of this type of support available for those who are already on the programme today, as well as any high street businesses who join in the London Borough of Hounslow related to footfall. So, without further ado, I think we need to move on to the next section. And so This is a big one. We've left ourselves a little bit more space here than the rest, and we're going to be following this section, doing a bit of a wrap up, focus in and really shine a light on the key support that's available for individual stakeholder groups who are listening into this call. But before we do any of that, I think we've got to set some context here, because the success or failure of high streets impacts everybody. And in almost every town centre, not just in this borough, but across the UK, there are local champions working hard to help their high streets succeed. Local champions come in all shapes and sizes, and they come from individuals to constituted partnership groups, and all types of people have an interest in their high street and are working hard to do things that help it. Shortly, we're going to be introducing some of those local champions in the borough who are going to be sharing a little bit more, and they're going to have an opportunity to talk about what's going on from their side on stage. But before that, I'd like to welcome, if she's on the line, Kate Bull, who's the Head of Economic Regeneration at the London Borough of Hounslow, who can share a little bit more about the council's commitment to some of these high street projects that are going on, and a bit of insight about what's going on right now and what's happening next. So welcome, Kate.
Thanks so much, Alex. And just thank you for this morning so far. It's just been fantastic, like the energy, brilliant examples and points of interest, and hearing from all our pop-ups, which is just fantastic. So it's been really really interesting and really informative event, and just full of energy, which is fantastic. I am Kate Bull. I look after a small team here at the council on focusing on economic recovery and regeneration. And next slide, please. There we go. So very, very quick context, just kind of where the council's coming from, just to set that into sight. So we have our Prosperity in Place framework, which was adopted by Cabinet in January this year, which sets out our kind of big strategic look at how we are going to achieve and support the borough to retain and regain some of the amazing economic growth we'd had pre-2019, and build on that and retain our core economy and really grow that economy of the future in terms of making sure that local residents have opportunities for good work and good employment, and also opportunities to start their own businesses. So we're really committed to that, and that document sets that out. So when you want some bedtime reading, and that's all there for you. A key part of that is our town centres, and we've done a huge piece of work over the last year, which some of you may have been involved in, with our business communities, our resident communities, which culminated again with Cabinet signing off our visions for the town centres, which set out a framework of action. So they kind of pulled together a huge amount of engagement of lots of different issues and opportunities that were raised with us, and then set out a series of strategic framework of which we can act, and a series of indicative proposals that our communities wanted us to act on, and we're working towards them now, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a second. And also, just around that strategic function, we have very much a commitment to Destination Hounslow and what that means across the council, and that's not just from an economic development point of view, very much about how Hounslow is a welcoming borough. It's a great place to live, to work, to visit, and how it's perceived, and how we ensure that we continue getting investment into the borough, and that we ensure our residents and our businesses flourish in borough. And we've done some practical projects around that I'll touch on in a second as well, in terms of some tourism and visitor economy activity. Thank you. Next slide, please. So as Alex has mentioned, this series, as well as a huge program of work over the last year, has been part of our Innovate and Grow program, which was funded through a additional restrictions grant from central government, which has been fantastic, and we've been able to flex that and provide 18 programs this time round and 16 programs last year, supporting I think at most recent count about 3,500 businesses, well, individuals, but lots of businesses within that, to start up, to grow, to pivot, to transform. So at the moment, we're just starting to wrap up that program and look at the evaluation and review that. And what we'll be looking for that then is looking at a business case for where we should as a council look at our future business support programming. Where are your priorities? And how can we best use our levers and our energy and our support to help the different business communities in the best way. So when that evaluation form comes through from Alex and the team, do fill it in and please tell us where you think we should be best directing that support for future, because that will all feed into me doing a business case internally for exactly what we should be doing. On a real practical level of things we can get involved with that's happening, we are cracking on with our town centre vision documents delivery. So we've started some community conversations in the town centres on the kind of looking at the next steps of that. We had one in Brentford just before Purdah. We're now in Purdah, which is a period before the local elections. So we're slightly restricted on what we can do at the moment. We'll be going out to the town centres post Purdah and starting those conversations with businesses, with residents, just to see how we can best work with them around the proposals that are within those documents. They are, the proposals range from, things tackling the kind of strategic challenges and trends which affect town centres and very, very local ones. So we've had a lot of work, a lot of indication people want us to work around, look at our green spaces, how they can work harder, add value to those town centres, improve the visitor experience, increase dwell time and hopefully spend with that, how we can invest in public realm to make the high street a more exciting, attractive place to be. So whether we're using art or lighting and communicating culture and identity and recreating points of interest and activity and points of difference about why to visit Hounslow, why to visit Chiswick, why to visit Feltham and Brentford, and really bringing those identities to life. And therefore, hopefully bringing visitors from further afield into the town centres and again, affecting those footfall and spend. We're also got projects looking at things around safety, particularly in the evenings, and how we improve our nighttime economy, how we diversify the offer at night. So there's a food offer at night, but also music and cultural venues and later shop openings and different services opening later, and how we can really add value to the high street around that. And lots of things around space in terms of how we can unlock spaces, whether it's been through meanwhile use like we've been doing with Alex and team, which has been fantastic, and how we can build on that in the future and unlock further spaces or have more meaningful long-term relationships with those landlords. How we look at affordable workspace for those needing temporary spaces and who's best to provide that and how we make that work. Looking about how we continue our Shop Local campaign, which we've been running since the start of that pandemic, really highlighting our local businesses and how we best as a council can use our huge, as Alex mentioned, Callum and the team and our social media team has got a huge reach. We're very active on all different forms of media, and how we can play a part in highlighting your businesses and highlighting the absolute incredible breadth of independence across the borough. So there's a huge range of projects around how we animate those town centres, how we bring them to life, and how we as a council can work with you, the businesses and our residents, in collaboration. I think I was listening to Alex's top 10 and I was going, yes, that collaboration's there, and that how we work together, and that is going to, in terms of us securing the future of our town centres, I truly believe that is the way forward. It is that you guys know best, you guys know your customers, your visitors, we can amplify that hopefully and bring in new and that working together. So one really practical example of that over the summer is we have the Summer of Culture 2022 coming up, which is fantastic, which is going to be doing activity all across the borough, on these kind of 3 areas, highlighting all our amazing range of venues and spaces, doing festivals. We've got South Asian Dance Festival on Hounslow High Street. We've got all sorts of fun things going on, which will drive people into our town centres, into our high streets. Next slide, please. And the potential here is that local businesses can really engage with this. So as well as the Summer of Culture, we've also got the Women's Euros, UEFA Women's Euros, which are being hosted. The Group B, I think it is being hosted at Brentford Community Stadium. So we have Germany, Spain, and Denmark playing there. And if England come second in their group, the quarterfinals will be held at Brentford anyway, but England will actually be playing at Brentford. So in terms of the tourists that are going to be coming into the borough from other European cities, and also tourists from across the UK coming to watch those Euros, it's an enormous opportunity for the borough's businesses to get some activity, get some, whether it's window displays, as Alex was saying, whether it's an offer, whether it's an early eat menu, whether it's particular clothing, or whether we're doing flags. I don't know, over to you guys. But there is huge opportunities for our businesses to really capitalize off that in terms of later opening, pre-event menus, all sorts of things. So come and talk to us and we can see how we can work with that together. Thank you. Next slide. I think, is that me? That might be me. Am I? Yeah. Oh, you just a flag in Hounslow. So we have in Hounslow, which is our visitor economy website, which brings together a what's on as well as a look across all our town centres. So if you've got activity happening in the town centres, if you've got particular activities or events you want to highlight, then this is the place for you. It's also got all the details of the Summer of Culture on there and what's going on, so you can see about matching your business activities up with events happening in particular areas. You'll be able to see that emerging over the next week or so as all the events get put up there. So one to watch and get engaged with. Thanks very much. I've rattled through that, so I hope that was understandable.
Fantastic.
But yeah,
fantastic.
I'll hand back over to you, Alex.
Thank you, Kate. Like a whirlwind of different things going on here. A couple of things I'd just like to re-emphasize to everybody is that these, as a business owner, if you're listening in here, there's a lot of opportunities here for you to get involved, even just to build your brand and build your presence. A lot of those winners, have been actively participating with these things here. A lot of the runners-up are looking at ways to build their brand. As I said, there's dozens, hundreds of other high street businesses, listening in here, where there will be opportunities to do everything from, engage in some of these events and, get yourself listed, get yourself showcased. The council is effectively a very big local media owner. They can promote you and they want to. And I think, regardless of your historical relationship with the council, you've got to know that there are a group of people, some of whom are on this call today, like Kate in her team, who are championing the success of high streets, and they want to get behind you. And when they ask for input, it's because they're trying to build a business case to get more support for you. So do what you can to get behind and support. And thank you again, Kate, for your time on the call today and support generally in high street initiatives. Fab.
Absolute pleasure.
Fab. Thank you very much. So we've got a few people to hear from here, and I'm going to kick off with Layla. So I want to sort of quick round the proverbial local champions table. We put the word out there, and a number of people came back and said they want to participate at this event here. We haven't got a huge amount of time for each, but I'd really like to give everyone the opportunity to share what it is that you love about your place, what you're up to at the moment, and what's next, whether that's a plan that you've got or something that you want to see change. So Layla, are you okay to kick things off? Maybe a little talk about the Try Before You Bike.
Yeah, hi, my name is Layla, and I'm here with my colleague Hassan. We're from the transport planning team at Hounslow Council, and we're working on revitalizing the Try Before You Bike scheme, notably for e-cargo bikes, where you can rent the bike for a month for free with Pedal My Wheels, and if it goes well, you can pay a monthly fee until you own it, or purchase it at a discounted price. And if you don't like it, you can just return it for free. The delivery comes with training at any location that you want, and if you're under benefits or a low-income household, there are vouchers for a bigger discount. So it's a great opportunity for either individuals, but also for businesses, as they can, a cargo bike can hold up to 100 kilos, and it's electric with pedal assistance. So it makes longer journeys less tiring. So if anyone has never heard of an e-cargo bike, it just kind of looks like a normal bike with a big storage space at the front of it. If you want to see what it looks like, we can maybe send out something afterwards. And yeah, so the business models that were identified by experts that have used them are mainly delivery and courier services, service vehicles for different types of technicians, for example, plumbers. We've seen yoga teachers as well, electricians, different types of technicians, as well as postal services and consolidation centers. Those two might not be as relevant for you guys, but yeah, definitely anything to do with delivery and couriering and service vehicles. Yeah.
Layla, where can people find out more information? Are you able to pop some notes into the chat? We're going to be following up with an email, I know that, around some of the key things that are going on to everybody who's joined today and registered for the events. But is there anywhere that someone could look right now if they want to find out more?
Yeah, definitely. I was going to pass it on. My colleague Hassan is actually here as well, and he was just going to say a few words about where the information is.
Yeah, Hassan, very quick, because we've got to get around to others as well. But just real quick, it'd be great to get a call out for what people can do to find out more at the very least.
So you have to go to pedalmywheels.com. Pedal My Wheels are who we're working with, and they will provide the bikes for you. We'll provide the links in the Q&A, the chat section. And also you can just email me or Layla. We'll give you all the information you need. And we can also perhaps send you our PowerPoint that we've made. So you can perhaps look at that as well. And that will have all the information, as well as also funding support that is available from the Community Energy Fund. The Community Energy Fund will give you a grant if you can show that you are working towards reducing carbon emissions, engaging the community, and building social inclusion. So we'll send you the information about that on the council's website as well.
Fab. So yeah. If you're happy to pop your email addresses as well into the chat, because I'm sure there's people listening in today, and anybody you know who's interested in this space generally. You know, there is clearly a conversation to be had with Layla and Hassan. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Jeannie, are you on the line as well?
Jeannie. I am.
Welcome. Good to see you, Jeannie. So, Jeannie, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you're focused on here? Because you've been a real active local champion in the area. I'm sure there's people listening in today who know about some of the good work you're up to. But why don't you tell a little bit more about what's happening nearby, what you love about Chiswick and the local area, and what you're doing next?
Yeah, I actually do really love where I live. I love Chiswick. I'd like to think I'm a champion of the local businesses here. I run something called the Chiswick Business Network, and we have 750 businesses in that. And one of your points you had made before, Alex, was about hosting local events, which is exactly what I do, and I bring the businesses together. So I've actually changed the format in the last year. We moved that around we meet at least once or twice a month. We get at least 30, 40 people there. And I go to different locations and venues purposely to show off other businesses to the businesses. But I am engaged with a lot of local businesses. And from the point of view of what we need is we need the opportunity for small and new local businesses to have that chance to get on the high road and to get a presence. And it's just very expensive. I mean, Chiswick, despite being considered an upmarket area, etc., we have our challenges on the high road. It's doing better. The markets and things that have happened recently have really helped improve us as a destination, but there's a long way to go. And getting space or using space that seems to be around but not accessible, like Turnham Green or the town hall and places like that, or pop-up shops, etc., and giving businesses and local businesses the chance. I was very envious when we met you and we went to Brentford High Street and we saw that digital space, that they digital dock there. I mean, something like that on the high road would just be absolutely fantastic. But yeah, and I'd like to see more coordinated approach between businesses working together too, bringing them all together rather than disparate and separate areas. So, I mean, Chiswick's doing fantastic. The markets, everything is wonderful, but there's a long way to go, and we'd love more attention, time, and ability to help those small businesses.
Yeah, fantastic. I think some of that raw materials in Chiswick is so exciting because there is just so much passion there. You know, yourself and others we're even going to hear from today. There is just so much passionate energy about making Chiswick the best version of itself. And it is already such a special area in its own right. It is such a great place to live, you know, work and play. So, you know, really, really exciting that the hard bit really of having those people who are so passionate and having multiple in that place is in place. So now it's about how to build on that and turn Chiswick into what it really can be.
Absolutely. And we've got, can I just say, just giving the businesses, small business, the opportunity, and everybody's welcome. I'll put the information about the Chiswick Business Network up in the chat room. Big
time. Everyone contributing today, if you've got anything, you know what to do. Get it into the chat, get it to us. We'll include it into the follow-up comms as well. We want to showcasing and shining a light on the good things that happen. This is a platform for good things happening on high streets. And so it's a team effort. And so even, as I said, let's just stay within Chiswick here. Have we got Ollie on the line at the moment? No, I don't think maybe we don't. Well, maybe we'll move. Maybe we'll leave Chiswick and we'll head over to Feltham. Have we got Fiona? I can see you're on the line here.
Did you mean to leave Chiswick in full, Alex?
Yeah. No, I don't think we'll ever leave Chiswick in full. Was that Joanna? So I'm trying to get through the thing here. Yeah. Fiona, are you there?
I am.
Okay, Fiona, welcome. Yeah, welcome to the stage. You've already been given a shout out already because of some of the work you've been doing with Dan the Bike Man in the Feltham Centre.
Oh right, I think I missed that one.
Yeah, why don't you just tell us just a very quick introduction so people know who you are and what you're doing and what you feel about Feltham.
Okay, I'm Fiona. I'm centre administrator, manager. I work alongside our centre manager Sam. We're obviously supporting Dan the Bike Man, who I think is doing very well. Seems to be doing very well whenever I've popped in and seen him. And I think we just want to sort of increase footfall, I guess, like everyone really. We have quite a good footfall in Feltham anyway. But I think just getting a nicer mix of, we've lost some of our retailers. Obviously we've got a few, we're not too bad on the vacant units, but yeah, I just think make it a nicer place to live. It's historically, I think it's had a bit of a bad reputation, but it's definitely improved a lot, and we just want to sort of, you know, encourage people in more. So.
Well, I mean, already just by the support of this program here. So just for those who maybe joined a little bit later, the Feltham Centre is where Dan the Bike Man, one of the three winners, is based. And he's operating out of a 7,000 square foot old new look. And that's due to a commitment from Aviva and the centre managers at Feltham, you know, to really get involved in trying to drive positive things towards Feltham as a community as a whole. And, you know, I think having been there again myself yesterday and seeing the amount of people coming in saying, it's so fantastic you're here, seeing all this kind of firsthand, hearing that positive interaction of like, this is bringing something positive to the table. It really brings it to life that actually a big part of making high streets successful is just having great offerings, the right mix of things in the right places, you know, and that commitment to the wider community that the Feltham Centre have is fantastic to see. Very good. So we have a few others to get round here. At this stage here, we're going to go back to Chiswick if Joanne is still on the line. Jo, are you there with us at the moment?
I am indeed.
Oh, good to see you. Good to see you, Jo. So yeah, same story. Like, you know, Jo, tell us a little bit about what it is you love about Chiswick, you know, and what it is you've been doing and what you see coming next.
Okay, thanks very much. I've lived in Chiswick since 1983 when I bought a flat on Devonshire Road, which is known for being a place for quirky independent shops. So I've been surrounded by them for however many years that is, and I can't quickly do the maths. My background is in PR communications, and I've always been a long-standing supporter of independence anyway. I think that I'm not an entrepreneur, but I think I'm an entrepreneur at heart. And when I went freelance in 1998, I tried very hard working with local independents to set up some kind of group that had been a very good trade association, but it had disappeared. Some kind of group that could promote all of the independents that we've got collectively. I tried twice, and the difficulty was funding. It was a very tricky time for retailers, and people didn't actually want to put their own hands in their own pockets, and there wasn't any other sources. So then I'm now a local councillor. And as soon as I was elected in 2018, I realized that I couldn't do any of this for money, or if I did, it would be very difficult for me representing businesses. So I decided to do things anyway, and I set up what I've called the Chiswick Shops Task Force, which has brought together, to pick up on a point that Jeannie made, brought together so far only in a loose way, the many of the independents that we've got. I haven't had time since I set it up to get them all, but I've got 350 with me listed in 3 wards that make up Chiswick. And the aim of the task force, we've got 5 aims, I won't go through them all, but they range from influencing policymakers, so that's the council on things like fees and charges and other issues, eating outside, for example, and national government on things like business rates, to promoting independent shops to residents and businesses. We have 31,000 people come into Chiswick, or we did have before the pandemic, every day to work. And they all need lunches, some of them need breakfast, some of them will stay on till supper, they go shopping for whatever they need to buy in between. So there's a lot of scope there as well. And also supporting businesses themselves through things like holding events, which everyone's talking about, putting on workshops to give them skills that they haven't got and that would help them to promote themselves. And I would just like to pay tribute to Jeannie here, who spoke a couple of people ago, who provided several workshops on using social media to local independents. And they were phenomenal. What she doesn't know about it isn't worth knowing. Her knowledge and advice are exceptional. And of course, there are other ways that I hope she might collaborate with shops with some of the points that she made herself. So that was 2018, which was before COVID, and COVID changed everything for us. It turned the task force into an information sharing machine so that businesses, many of whom in Chiswick, which will be a surprise perhaps to other parts of the borough, don't have English as their first language. And getting the information from government announcements on what exactly they had to do with queuing, if you remember that, those early stages, what lockdown meant for whom, who had to lock down, who didn't, all those sorts of things. We just churned out the information in a very encapsulated way that just gave them the information that they needed to know. So now we are where we are. COVID's taking, well, it's still around, but it's not dominating our lives in the same way as it was before. And so I'm regrouping and thinking about what next. We've still got the same 5 aims. We're developing a website, which we were before COVID. We've got a fantastic logo, which I hope will end up as stickers in people's windows and doors so that when residents and business people are walking past, they can think, oh yes, that's an independent, I'll pop into that deli rather than the one over there, or rather than the supermarket. Not to knock supermarkets, we need them too, but this is all about championing our independence. And that's really it. And I think what we're doing in Chiswick, and I don't want to sound as if I'm being boastful, but I think there are things that we're doing here which would work in Feltham, in Bedfont, in Isleworth, in Hounslow and in Brentford. The real point that I think we all have to make, and you've made it a couple of times, Alex, is every area is different. Every area has its own unique character, its own unique way of working. With us in Chiswick, for example, we're very broad and very deep. At broad, we're very narrow, but we're very deep in the middle. And we've got fantastic buses. A lot of us can walk to the high road, but most of us tend to walk or bus to exactly the same spot and stay fairly hyper-local. Which means that if you live in the southern part of it, in Grove Park, you may not go to Turnham Green Terrace, which is alive with over 100 independents. where people might go once a year to buy their turkey from the well-known butcher or some fish for Easter or whatever, but forget that they can go there for clothes, for jewelry, for chocolate, for everything, cards, etc. So it's about telling everybody what we've got everywhere so that people stop being so hyperlocal and use the whole of Chiswick.
Hear, 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 hear. Good stuff, good stuff. You know, lots of energy in Chiswick. I don't think we've got Ollie on the line today, who was supposed to be there, but I can see that Bob is here. So maybe we can head up the road to Brentford, proverbially or virtually, if you're able to share a little bit more, Bob.
I'm here. I'll do a positive and then a lot of negatives, I'm afraid. The positive is that I'm part of an organisation, community organisation called Brentford Voice, which is doing its damnedest over the last 2 to 3 years to actually pull Brentford together as a community, and with particular focus on the High Street. Our problem, however, is that the High Street is subject to major redevelopment. 3 years ago, over half the High Street was demolished to make way for the major Barrymore development. The Barrymore development does not produce any shops until at least a year, probably 2 years' time. So for 5 years, we've been with a very much denuded High Street, and those independent, those outfits left working on the High Street are finding it very tough indeed, because not surprising, the footfall's not there. Footfall's not there. Being even more negative, we find that some of the conversations are quite difficult. I personally have some conversation with the Barrymore people, and we have some conversation with Hounslow folk, but I don't see any coordinated plan to actually keep the High Street alive now. And it may get good in 2-3 years' time, but it's really a tough, very tough scene. Sorry to be negative.
No, look, yeah, this is about realities. You know, there are a lot of positives in the challenges because it gives opportunities to change things, but that doesn't mean it's not hard. And I think every single high street is different, and every high street needs a plan, and every one of those plans needs people like everyone who's talking today and participating in this section here, not just aware of it and bought into it, but central to driving it. It's the people who live on the ground, live and breathe success on high streets that are having the biggest impact all around the UK. It's not just a top-down approach.
Sorry, being negative again, Barrymore is the key, and they don't talk much.
Well, let's see. Well, maybe this is a conversation offline, Bob, where we can see what we can do to get people to the table and start this conversation about the short term.
It's sad that you're doing a major event on the High Street. I don't see anyone from that organisation here today.
This is it. Yeah, this is it. So, you know, there's work that can be done, but, you know, it is not about just the long-term future. It's about 2022. It's about the impact right now.
I say I'm friendly, got friends along the present High Street, and they are only just surviving.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
No,
it's a tough old world here at the moment. We are doing, as an organisation, Brentford Voice, we're doing our best. We bring events in and so on, and that helps a bit. But the major problem is we're waiting for the major development to get online.
Yeah, yeah. So I think what's clear here is there is a lot of work to be done. But I also think it's clear that there are lots of people here today, and I know across the SaveTheHighStreet.org team, there's a lot of excitement about the opportunities for positive impact in Hounslow Borough. To make this a reality, though, we do need to join together quickly, and we do need people like those who participated today and more with the support they need to achieve their own potential. As I said, every high street needs a plan, and every plan needs to be led by people on the ground. And those people on the ground need to almost see the high street as their own business, and they need to be supported in the same way we're supporting businesses. They need to get, you know, the empowerment to have the ability to change things. They need guidance on putting the right things in place, and they need resources to make changes happen. So the Local Champions Program is a big sort of national thing we've been doing at Save the High Street since the beginning. Save the High Street is really born out of a lot of small local high street entrepreneurs and local champions, you know, who really care about high streets succeeding. And if you're listening in today and you haven't been a part of this event participation-wise, but you feel like you might be a local champion, you might be someone, even as an individual or part of a group that wants to make a positive impact, then please do get in touch. Hounslow@savethehighstreet.org. This is not the end of the journey, this event. This is an ongoing journey about improving high streets. And we still want to hear from others who are trying to have that positive impact in any places across the London Borough of Hounslow. So I think now's a good moment. Maybe we click to the next slide. I think it's really at this point here, you know, the last few minutes we have today in this event, useful to just re-shine a light back on what's actually available for different stakeholders who have an interest in successful high streets in this borough. So I'm going to just quickly run through and highlight what you can do next if you sound like one of these 4 groups. And if we could just quickly move to the next slide. Going back to the beginning of today, we heard from the winners, we've heard from the finalists or runners-up. We have a whole range of other businesses who may be listening in today thinking, do you know what? I've got an idea or I've got an existing business that could really do with space. And I think I'm at that point now in my journey where I'd either like to start exploring that business case, or I think I'm actually at that point where I really want to find that right space and get myself launched onto a high street, a shopping centre, or even in a market as soon as possible. One thing that hasn't been touched on here as much, and I know to Ollie from the flower market, doesn't look like he was able to make it today, you know, but the borough has some fantastic markets, which is a great test bed and opportunity for getting yourself operating with a local presence early on. And so if you're at that point of your journey where you're thinking, my business today, whether it's an online business or a remote business or an office-based business, or it's just an idea on paper like Samira at Kidwise talked about, you know, but you feel like I have something to offer locally, we want to hear from you. The website, the URL on this page here takes you to the competition. That competition has been played out, but we still want to hear from exciting entrepreneurial businesses at any stage of your journey who want to set up on the high street, and we're still here to help. Okay, moving to the next slide. Those who are currently on the high street today, and I'm going to put in there anyone who's in the markets, as well as anybody who's trading in a shopping centre or a high street core presence, whether primary or secondary high street, anyone with a physical space that they are trading from on the high street, there is still space to get involved on the core business support program that we've been providing here, focused around helping businesses achieve those goals. All that stuff I talked about earlier on, before we touched on the top 10 ideas we're helping people with Footfall, that level of support still exists, and there are still some spaces available, but it's limited at the scope of which others are receiving that support at the moment. So if you're listening in right now, make sure if you've registered already to Save the High Street Hounslow, check your inbox or get in touch with us, because you would have received a unique link to be able to join a special version of the Joe platform that's designed for local independent business owners in Hounslow who really want to take their business to the next level. And so if you can't find that and you're a local independent, you know what to do. Hounslow@savethehighstreet.org. Tell us that you're looking, you know, what you're doing, and we'll get you a link to basically secure your place on that support before it's too late. So yeah, we hope to hear from you soon on that one if you're listening in and you're not already on the program. And clearly, if you are already on the program here, you know, this program is, you know, there's a level of support we can provide for a period here, but we're here for the long term. We're not just going to switch off. There will always be a low level of support available for you to continue developing your business. And, you know, ultimately, as I said earlier on, it's a team effort here. We're going to be doing everything we can do to make you successful. But You really got to want that right now. You've got to want to be working on it, not just in it every day. And yeah, let's see what can be achieved. Great. So moving on from local independents, local champions. So yeah, again, big thank you for everybody's contribution today. Everyone's been not just generous with their time at this event, but a lot of those people who've talked today have been hugely generous with their time in championing their high streets over not just the recent months that we have been running and launching Save the High Street Hounslow, but long before in many cases here. This is many years of investment of time, energy and resources, you know, to making their high streets successful. And so, you know, right now we're at a very pivotal moment in terms of really evaluating all of these conversations that we've had here to push forward on some really targeted projects where we'll be working alongside local champions to help put some things in place in the borough at the moment. So if you are someone who feels like you might be a local champion, we want to hear from you. I don't need to go over this again because I said it very recently, but you know, now is that moment. Hounslow at savethehighstreet.org. Get in touch. There's a few things that we want to understand about what support you think your place needs, where it is that you care about, what high street or high streets that you care about, as well as what support you need. You know, what is it that you as an individual or as a group are trying to do, and what you believe, you know, the support is that will help you take it to that next level. You know, we can't promise to be able to get behind everything at the same level. You know, it's not an unlimited resource pot, but we are here to champion local champions generally, and we want to support key initiatives. And we're building business cases ourselves around this alongside our partners inside the council. So please do get in touch. We want to hear from you soon. And then moving on, we heard about the massive contribution that the Feltham Centre and Aviva have provided already to Dan the Bike Man and the startup competition and Feltham generally, making these commitments rather than leaving these units empty, you know, giving these businesses an opportunity to try out their offering on a high street and really help you regenerate high streets from the bottom up. Really does require those landlords' involvement. You know, as Bob said, you know, it's a very key stakeholder at the table to have, you know, the key landlords who are running bigger regen projects or own a lot of assets in a particular high street. And even if you don't, even if you're just an individual, you know, private landlord with one asset in the town centre, we still want to hear from you. You know, I'm doing some stuff at the moment alongside certain communities of independent landlords and developers in and around this region across West London to really see, you know, how can we work better together with the longer tail of owners on high streets? Because ultimately, you know, everybody's in this together, and this isn't a landlord versus tenant discussion that needs to be had on high streets generally across the UK. It's a tripartite relationship going on almost at all times between landlords, tenants and lenders. And actually everybody's in it together. And we need to find a way to get to more sustainable long-term relationships between landlords and tenants. And there are lots of opportunities for landlords to play positive roles for the local economy and the local community while improving rental income and asset value by playing a more, you know, proactive role. So yeah, we urge anybody who is a landlord or if you've got a landlord to share Save the High Street Hounslow and encourage them to get in touch with us soon, because we're going to be looking at, you know, what is that next stage on the startup program? How do we build on those successes and help repopulate high streets and really encourage this new generation of, you know, high street businesses and, from the landlord's point of view, occupiers to come through in this borough, but also look at how you can support your existing tenants and how you can work more closely across public and private sector to make positive things happen. You know, ultimately, the success or failure of high streets impacts everybody, and the owners of property is a key part of that too. So we want to hear from you, and we want you at the table too. There's another group I'm going to just mention here who might feel like they might be outside of this mix, but you're not. and we've been speaking to a whole number of different industry suppliers locally who have things to offer to the high street. We've heard some of them who also see themselves as local champions who are bringing things to the table, initiatives, products, services. If you have something that you believe can help high streets and high street businesses and any of the stakeholders we've talked about today, we want to hear from you too. Hounslow at savethehighstreet.org, savethehighstreet.org/Hounslow. Get in touch, join the movement, spread the word. We're here to help. So I think that brings us to a bit of a close around this event. I really hope that this has been something that has really got people thinking, has helped maybe even build certain collaborations and connections through this event in its own right. But I think the big message from us is that this is a journey. We're not here at the end, and we're no longer here at the beginning, but we're here, and savethehighstreet.org is committed to doing more in this borough. And we want to be a big thank you to everybody that has been a part of this stage of this first phase of Save the High Street Hounslow. Everyone at the local authority at the London Borough of Hounslow, you know, central government and their commitments down to providing the funding pools like the ARG scheme. Every one of the businesses that has applied for competitions or applied for support and is really making those positive changes happen. As I said earlier, successful high streets do not exist without successful high street businesses. And there are lots of exciting business and entrepreneurs in the borough who are working hard to make their business successful. And of course, all the local champions we've heard at today who take out their time to really make things happen. And you know, the passion is clear in all the different town centres here, but we are just at the beginning. We want to hear more. So if you have anything that you want to share with us about things that are going on, showcased good initiatives, good businesses, good schemes, good support that you think is going to have a positive impact on high streets across the borough, then please do get in touch with us, because we're going to be following up through our email communications and our social media and updates on the website and updates through our initiatives about these things. Save the High Street Hounslow is a platform. SaveTheHighStreet.org runs it day to day, but it's a platform for good things to happen that impact high streets this year and for the long term. So that's it from me today. Big thank you to the guys behind the scenes as well, hosting this event. Ollie's been running things tirelessly, so everyone who knows has been involved, you know, making these happen. Julie Holden, the community director at SaveTheHighStreet.org, has been sort of involved in all kinds of parts of this initiative. I know all the local champions have probably heard from her. We've got Magella and this team on the helping the businesses day to day around success. John Abatti, who leads on customer experience here, really bringing to life these spaces, and many, many others. So yeah, big thank you to everyone involved. We have 2 minutes left. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to have a quick check on the Q&A, just to see if there's any burning questions that come up that can be answered now. What I'll say is we're going to save the questions that you put here in case anything that you've asked has not been answered, to make sure it's all followed up. And I'm trying to multitask right now into having a quick look at some of these questions from the bottom up. Again, apologies if we haven't got to yours here. I see a lot of people shouting out their business. Great stuff here. Just a few things. If you haven't gone into the Q&A here, I mean, this is just gold dust. There's a load of things, links to go and check out yourself live. I've got the Community Energy Fund, bike scheme. Yeah, so thanks Hassan for sharing all the details about that. You know, Samira shining a light on KidWise, the science lab. You know what to do. Ollie saying, you know, obviously shining a light on what needs to be done if you're following up with any questions. And there's a question to you if there's anything you want to share here. And I'm getting some thank yous from everyone else. Well, listen, look, it is It is 1:59. Everyone on this call, I'm sure, has a load of things to get on with. I'm sure, regardless of what happened this week, you deserve a good break this weekend. It's Friday. I hope you've all got that Friday feeling, whatever's going on for you today and over the weekend, onwards and upwards, and hope to hear from you soon. So thank you, everybody. We're going to close this meeting now, but we're not closing down this conversation. So we look forward to hearing more from you over the coming days and weeks.